few minutes after 6. I'll give a few minutes for people to wander in. Propped up here on the sofa. I've had company the last couple days and been getting over on my physical therapy ouches, and so I haven't really paid the closest attention to YouTube because, let's honestly, in the scheme of things, real life is always priority. Hi Irish, hi Ashley. So if y'all have noticed, I've had some rather really aggressive comments in some of my videos. And this one poor woman just purely attacked me. And I find it so funny because I come on here and I'm like, hi Net, hi Gypsy. I come on here and I'm like, this is why the world's breaking down. Hi Priscilla. Hi Libby Cats. This is why the world is breaking down. You can see from the discussions I've had over the last few weeks about Ryan, what Ryan's going through, the possibilities that this could be a possibility, that could be a possibility. We won't know unless this or this occurs, or until it takes action on this, and then when we all found out what was going on, I said, okay, so if this is the thing that's made him feel kind of the way I've kind of felt him kind of off kilter and cycle, then he'll stop cycling. Or if he continues cycling, then he's still causing some of his own issues and will still have to be responsible for his own issues. But time will tell. We'll all know in time. And as where it stands on anyone doing anything illegal, I'm not going to badmouth anybody, but anybody that did anything fraudulent or illegal, they deserve a consequence, and that's up for the law to decide. I don't carry a Jesus stick and damn people to hell. I don't know if I could actually be that mean. But this is the toxic side of Creek Squad I'm talking about. So to the little girl who said I had no business talking about this because I'd never even seen anybody on drugs and I didn't know nothing. I didn't have enough two brain cells rubbed together to know what I was talking about. I am a retired parole officer that has supervised every level of felony offender, even sex offenders. And I'm a retired counselor that counseled youth in state's custody for violent outbursts, drug addiction, and a whole lot of other issues. And I'm a retired wilderness boot camp counselor for kids that should have been in prison but were given an alternative sentence option to go to a wilderness boot camp. Yes, we cut down trees and built our own cabins and cooked over fire. So my entire life has been dealing with this demographic, you idiot. And I'm like, woo, hey, Rikers Mimi. I haven't seen you for so long. It's so nice to see your name. But I get the biggest kick. Out of people like that just jump because I have more than one view on things, because we don't know what happened. We think we know what happened, but we don't know what happened. There's a lot of open space in here that we don't know what happened. But better with Irish, yeah. Your thing is, people that steal money don't go buying investments. That's one of my things is and they don't go buying investments and putting it in other people's names to where they can't access the investment. So I have a lot of questions too. So that's why I don't carry a Jesus stick and damn people to hell. I don't have all the answers. I can, however, look at a lot of this and tell you, okay, he's going to mentally be going through this. He's going to be filtering this. He's going to be probably feeling this. This is where he may be getting stuck. Because I've dealt with that demographic so much. I understand when people go through trauma, and they go through trauma because family causes their trauma. So to whoever the little girl was that got her knickers in a wad, let me tell you what, honey. Give me your address. I will send you some preparation H. Because if you got that big of a pucker factor going on, you got to be dippling every couch you sit on. I'll send you a Max too. I hear it's real good stuff. But this is why Creek Squad is toxic. This is why Creek Squad is toxic. Ryan is making all of this public. I'm not digging in anything. And I try to stay focused on what he says and what he does, because I don't like to deviate. Yeah, it's like you can't have your own opinion. You can't in this world, Ashley. You can't. You can't. And if you're in physical contact with somebody having a conversation, you can, because there's a possibility of physicality may occur. And but these little nimrods that come on the internet and all of a sudden think that they have my master's degree, and they're 12, 14, and 19 years old, and they think they have to school me. Those are the beta of society that are taking over, because alphas don't normally go on the internet, because alphas like physical interaction and alphas like to be in the middle of the business. So now we've got this beta society here. And so when they see an alpha, they go, let me cause them grief. Let me cause them harm. Let me make them feel bad, because this is where I can do it through a screen where nobody can physically look at me and say, beta, get in your place. And that's why our society is falling apart, because we have no leaders anymore, because all the betas and the simpletons have the run of the asylum, aka the internet. And you can't have a logical discussion, because that's where they get off. That's where they get off. So they go and they flood with their regurgitated one perspective. Boy, they go into real society with people, and it's because they know they can't have a real conversation, because it may have a physical interaction to where they look at me and they say, you crazy. And I might cry and break down, and that scares me. And I'll have to go home tonight and type for 3 hours to make myself feel better. It's just like, lady, know where you're getting your gutzpah, and know when it's coming from the wrong place. Oh, God, I'm just ragging on these stupid little twats. That's when I say there we are, then it's twats. Twats, there we are, then, little twat. But that's the violence and the animosity and the sickness that is in Creek Squad. You're kidding me, Annette. Oh my gosh. Your prayer vlog for veterans and conservatives in cause. You had to take that down because of threats. See, and this is what's ticking me off, is you're only allowed one perspective. Listen, everything that occurs in life, take this from a seasoned person with a terminal diagnosis that had to do a whole lot of thinking. I've dealt with every strata of society. There are 5 million ways to look at anything that occurs. And sometimes your view is not the best view. And so when I put my view up here, I like discussion, because other people have other points. If I'm only on here for 30 minutes or 45 minutes, I can't go through 5 billion options that could be occurring. I can only go through the few that my brain can actually spit up. It's imperative as a nation that we all start talking about options, opportunities, what we are seeing that we want to correct in our world, what we're seeing that is causing conflict in our small areas. And when people stand up and say, how dare you, we should stand back up and say, how dare you? The first thing that I did this morning was have a go around with Walmart. It's like today, Jesus just said, Elizabeth shall spit venom, and it has happened. And well, actually, I don't mind anyone talking to me and having an idea, even if it's like a polar blank opposite than mine, but just express it respectfully. Because I'm not dogging Ryan, I'm not demeaning Ryan. I am emotionally invested and concerned about Ryan. I think this whole thing is a horrible, horrible example. He's using it to say, hey, people, learn from my, horrible existence here. That's kind of him. But at the same time, it's triggering a whole lot of people that don't understand that there's about 5 gazillion things we don't know about this. And so y'all better stop sending death threats and attacking people, because it's plot blank stupid. Oh, gee, I make $125 at video rental store each week, and I live in my mother's basement, but I'm going to go online and stalk people and threaten them because they don't like my rap idol. But I have no clue that a retainer for an attorney is at least $1,500 to $2,000 plus a fee for every presentment in court. I have no idea about the justice system. I just know this feels good. Feeling good costs you money. Feeling good online can cost you a lot of money. Be careful what you say. You're responsible for the words that you say. You're responsible for your interactions with other people. Yeah, actually, there's always three sides times a billion. I mean, we really don't know. And people are so mad because they're like, oh, now his life's gonna be great. Well, like I said in my last video, I hope that the cycling that I was seeing was being caused by all of this indifference in his family. But only time will tell. If he stops cycling, then it's most likely that was what was causing the cycling behavior. But if he continues to cycle, then he has no one to blame but himself, and he has more work to do. And that's just that simple. He's a growing young man. He's gonna have a lot of work to do. I don't know why people take such offense. I'm 45. I've still got a lot of work on me to do. Why do people take everything the worst way possible? It's horrible. It's horrible. But it was just like, no, if you had taken 5 minutes to read my bio or watch one video, you would have known exactly what I've done with my entire life. It's just, God almighty, I mean, it's just like, let me go through life vapid, but act like I'm, like Socrates. Whoo, blind Socrates. Oh, yeah, I think that what we've learned so far is just a drop in the bucket. Sadly, I think there's going to be so much come to light, and we're all going to be sitting here scratching our noggins going, what in the heck? Yeah, he was much more centered in the last video. That's why I did that, our boy's back, because he was out of his amygdala. He was out of fight or flight mode. I was like, heck yes, his feet are back on the ground. He's not running on emotion and endorphins, and I was just like, hallelujah, we've got him back. Alapot? How do you say that? I have no idea. I'm from Appalachia. But the first thing I did this morning was have a roundabout with Walmart. Now, hear me out. My husband works 6 to 7 days a week. He goes in around 1:30 in the afternoon, gets home around 12:30, midnight. He gets back up at about 6:30, 7 o'clock because the man doesn't know how to rest. I married a man that doesn't know how to rest. He will go run his trap line and snare lines for a few hours. Then he comes back, and if I need something done, that's when he will devote like an hour and a half. Okay, we'll run here, get this, or I'll run pick up the grocery order. I'll run do this. Because the delivery boy in our area is now going to HVAC school, so we have no delivery service because that's how rural I am. Welcome to the channel. We appreciate you being here. The road to hell is paved good intentions, yes. And Carl Jung said, a man's shadow reaches all the way to hell. Every person on this world is capable of darkness and deception, and you just have to weave through society as best you can and try to choose good people. But let me tell you what, it's getting harder to choose good people because there's fewer good people. It's getting kind of sad out there. It's getting really, really sad out there. Oh God, Annette, that's what I like when this woman was yelling at me on her comments. I was like, you could hear it like in my head. That guy was like, leave Brittany alone. It was just like, leave Ryan alone. And I'm like, God, Ryan is placing this out there for Jesus and everybody to see. I am not violating anything. It's like, pooh. Let me tell you my Walmart blunder. So last night I did a Walmart order because my husband said, well, he said, even though I've got to work tomorrow, I can still grab the groceries in between this time if you can schedule it. I said, okay, I'll schedule it. Schedule pickup between 8 and 9 so that he could grab it between 9 and 10 just in case they're a little late. He leaves this morning, goes, runs his snare line, and he calls me when he starts to head back up the mountain, and he's like, is it ready? I said, hang on, I haven't got anything on my phone. Let me check. Well, it says delayed. I've never had a delayed order, ever. I'm in Podunk, Appalachia. We have one Walmart. They probably get 5 orders a day to fill. And it said delayed. And so I called Walmart. I said, hey, yeah, I put an order in last night. I said about 10, 11 hours ago. A really simple grocery order, nothing I'm not. So I'm not ordering caviar. I'm on a beer budget here. And it says delayed. Is there a reason for the delay? And the girl goes, we filled all our orders. We don't have any pending orders. I said, it's not a pending order, ma'am. It says delayed. I said, I don't know why it says delayed. She goes, I don't see any orders with my store. I said, okay, can I give you the order number and you look it up? No, you need to call our IT crew at this number and have them. Whoa, what? I need to call your IT crew? If it's stuck in your system, I would think that you need to call your IT crew. I said, that's like me having a tick on my ass and saying, hey, Walmart, send somebody to pull this thing off of me. I mean, there's no reason. There's no reason either of us should be up in each other's business like that. And she goes, no, you have to call. I said, so I have to scan myself out if I go in the store. And now I have to call IT if there's a problem with your system that you want me to use. Okay. So I called IT. They said, yeah, it's delayed. I have determined this. Thank you. Where do we go from here? Because it needs to be picked up. I need to pass you off. I said, no. I said, I've been passed off too much. I said, somebody can fix this. Somebody can push a button somewhere. I said, Sam Walton did not breed. Idiots. I said, surely to God, somebody knows how to push a button and make this work. They wanted to pass me off. I got put on purgatory hold from Hades. And after I listened to like Bollywood and old Christmas music that still hadn't been taken off, I hung up and just called corporate. Screw it, going to the top. Called corporate and I said, hey, 35 minutes I've been working on this problem. Now listen, you put a $35 marker for me to be able to use the pickup. You create a legal and binding contract that I pay for it, you deliver goods. I said, you've already drafted my funds. Where's my goods? Well, they say delayed. Okay, now we've established this 3 times. I'm so glad you people can read a screen. How do we get it not delayed? Well, I can see your order right here. Okay, well, print that puppy out, fax it to my local store and say, fill this lady's order, let her pick it up. Oh, man, that would be against, I was like, filling my order would be against regulation. Well, we have to figure out how to get it dislodged from the IT system. Well, okay, well, if you can see what I ordered and you know what I want and what you took money off my account for, print that sucker out, fax it to the store, tell them to fill my order, and y'all can fix the IT crap on your time because this is my time. And I done paid. Oh, man, we can't do that. I said, okay. I said, let me tell you what's going to happen. I said, I think this is breach of contract. I said, not only that, but because I'm disabled and because I can't come into the store and shop and because I have a $35 market I have to meet before you'll even give me this option, you're taking advantage of disabled people. I said, and now you're telling me that, he said, oh, but you can order again. I said, you already have my money. I'm not ordering again. When can I get my money back? Oh, 1 to 5 business days. You cannot take a poor person's money, that much money, and just go order again. Go drop another bill. I said, no. I said, this sounds like extortion of the lower class. I said, like you're fraudulently, not meeting your contract obligations and you're financially extorting disabled people and people that are right on the poverty line. And I said, I just feel like, if you do this casually, with maybe 10% of your orders daily and you get a hold on to somebody else's money that's not being used for goods for 5 days, if you have $1 million that you get to hang on to for 5 days and you do that and you rotate through your entire consumer base, then you have $1 million that you earn interest off for a week at all times that are not being transacted in goods, and that would be a fraudulent income. And I think we might have a class action lawsuit for everybody in Podunk, Appalachia that's disabled that's being taken advantage of by this scenario. 2 minutes, it was fixed. You may pick it up in the morning. So, guess that must be what they're doing with their money. Because you got to think, if that happens to just 10% of the people placing orders and they get to hold that money for 5 days with no penalties, and they get to invest it for 5 days with no penalties before they regurgitate it back out, how much interest do they earn? And if they keep doing that through their entire consumer base, and so they constantly have all that money making interest, they just switch out the sums from different bank accounts every 5 days. How much money are they making off their oopsie daisies? No, thank you. When I was in kindergarten, they taught me how to tie my shoe, and from then on out, I figured out I could do things right. And so I set it on my life's path to be a responsible adult. And so when I call and people just pawn me down the line, down the line, down the line, down the line, oh, it makes me so mad. I know, Scott, I think I'm onto something. I really do. I'm like, I cracked the code. I'm a turd, though. I don't want to be a turd, but because I was a parole officer that supervised murderers for so long, it's like I will be the sweetest person, and then when you turn into Satan, I will call you and raise you another level, and it will be bad. Oh my gosh, that was a scheduled delivery. Well, we are in Podak, and we no longer have a delivery service, so it's imperative that I get to be able to pick it up in that window because of my husband's work schedule. I cannot, especially in these colder days, because of my Raynaud's. I will pass out, and they'll find me somewhere passed out because all my blood goes to my core, and then kaboom, I pass out. And they will find me passed out somewhere if I try to go out in this colder weather. Thank God it's going to warm up for a few days here. So it kind of is imperative that he be able to pick it up during those time frames. And I tried to express this in a kind manner. And after I had ripped those people a new one, and I said, listen, and when you use this for training purposes, I said, let me tell you, there was no reason that I had to get hateful. I said, you enter a contract where I give you money, you give me goods. I said, now you get your cut, the credit debit agency gets their cut, the bank gets their cut. I said, I pay cuts to everybody, and then I finally get this piddly amount of groceries. And I said, I said, fine, it's just the way the world works. I get it. I said, but the least you could do is just fulfill your obligation and care about your customer first. I said, because you came into this area and you bought out every mom and pop store that gave us an option. I said, so you made yourself the only place we can go. I said, if you want to be the only place we can go, you should at least care about us being there. You should at least care about our experience while we're there. And I said there was no reason that I had to get hateful and bring out these big words and this vicious nature. There was no reason. I said, because what you did there at the end that took you 2 minutes, you could have done at the beginning, and this would have all been resolved. I said, so now, I said, in your training and educational team, I said, why did I have to spend 23 minutes arguing with you about the fact that you have my money and I have no goods? That's the question. And you could tell he was butthurt by the time I got off the phone with him, but I didn't care. I didn't care. I don't make a lot of money. I keep track of it. And no, Walmart, you may not borrow it for 5 days to make yourself more rich. Imagine that. So, yeah, I was a hooch. I started out, like, right out the bed. I had to be a turd this morning. Yeah, it's a problem. I think they pick on seniors, anybody that is not able to go in. Because now if you go in, you also have to walk and shop, which is almost impossible for me most days because of this neuromuscular disorder. But then you have to scan out your groceries. Do you know how difficult that is for somebody that has something that's like MS? By the time I scan out all the groceries I need in a week, I might as well have gone to the gym and beg for lightning to strike me and take me off this planet because I'm going to be laid up for 3 days. So I have to use the service to where it's pickup. And it's easier for my husband to just grab it, and he brings it to the house, and then he helps me put it away. And we have a system. When you have a disabled loved one, you have a system. And they wanted to absolutely crumple my system and hold on to money. And I was like, no. I was like, we didn't have a big, good work week last week. By the time he pays for his insurance, which is crap, and everything else he has to pay for, I said, you wanted to keep the bulk of our money because you made a mistake? No, sir. Nope. No, we don't play that around here. Nope. So we get to pick it up in the morning because I told him I have no one pick it up this evening. So I said, well, I'll have to pick it up in the same bracket tomorrow. I said, that's the only bracket I have anyone available to pick anything up in. Oh yeah, I tell them all the time in where you can leave like little messages. I'm like, stop picking if there's a substitution. Stop picking the most damn expensive substitution. I'm not polite. I'm feeling better today. The soreness from physical therapy on Thursday is working out, and I'm feeling better. And it's supposed to be warm tomorrow. Well, much warmer tomorrow, like almost 3 times as warm as it was yesterday. And so I'm thinking about riding down the mountain to visit Mom and Granny while David checks some snares he's got at the cattle farm. And so it'd be like my first trip out since the last time I went to check on Granny a couple weeks ago. So I really want to wake up and feel good enough in the morning to do that. I know it'll be hard on me, but I've got to do it. I'm starting to see the benefits of the physical therapy in my legs with the swelling and the knee swelling and the bone-on-bone discomfort that I have. So I'm starting to see some of the benefits there from the extra stretches and stuff. So that's starting to pay out. So I'm getting through because, anytime you start any kind of program, even if you have a good body, if you start any kind of program, you have about 2 weeks of your body just going, I hate you. You changed their routine. And so I've been stuck there for a while. Oh, Christy, you're blessed. You're blessed. You give that boy a hug from me. Miss Sassy Bridges, I am. Some days I'm sassy. I'm sassy today. Boy, I tell you what, when you get my goat, honey, I will band your Billy. It just pissed me off. So just right out the gate this morning, I was like, there's no reason to make me mad. Just right out the gate. Don't take my money and piss me off. Just do one or the other, please. You missed my live when I said, well, you're probably the only one. Everybody else has yelled at me for what I have to say about Ryan, except for Ryan. Ryan's like, thanks for your thoughtfulness. I'm like, cool beans. Everybody else is like, you're a horrible person. And I'm like, yeah, it's a 60-40 split. I swear I haven't had any Dr. Pepper, but that's just kind of how this is the day I've had today. Just to have. But, I understand why the internet is such a toxic place. It is because there are no repercussions. And so everybody that it does not establish themselves as alphas or as thinkers and speakers in society where we actually physically meet and talk, they get on here and they do it, So anywhere I go, this is who I am. And it comes from a lifetime of working with, supervising murders, working with felons, helping families, helping people structure their lives, and being a counselor and helping people learn how to be more productive and more thoughtful. So if I go to Walmart, I'm going to get hugged 15,000 times because nobody's seen me in 5,000 years. If I try to go anywhere out in town, I'm going to get 50,000 honks and waves because people don't see me that often. And when they do, they get really excited. And, so I have a loving group of people in this community in like an 8-county rotation where I worked. And I have a lot of great people that check on me. And I have a lot of bonus kids and friends that filter through and check on me. I had a great 2-day visit with one of my besties. She drove all the way from West Virginia to visit me. And so I've had 2 really great love-filled days. So that's kind of recharged me. But it's not necessary. If you don't know how to speak in public, learn, because that's the real world. Go out and start to integrate yourself into real social groups, because the internet, it doesn't really teach you any skills other than that you can be a sneaky little turd and cause a lot of problems, and if you run across people that are having real thoughtful conversations and you're upset, What does this say about you? What does this say about you? I'm mad that you're having a thoughtful conversation about how this could be impacted by him and how it may affect his life and how it could possibly potentially affect other people's lives that may be experiencing similar things, and that perhaps they need to explore these options in order to better safeguard themselves, their family, and their emotions, take care of themselves. What a horrible person, lady. I mean, it's like, seriously, people are backwards much? You know? I mean, good Lord. Oh, I complain. I left like this big, nasty, like huge statement. So I pick up my groceries tomorrow. I'm telling you what, I better have like a Snow White moment where the sun shines just right on me and birds whistle and like the world is perfect, because it needs to be that way. Denise, I'm about to stop. Like if I can get with my physical therapy to where I can actually be up more, and I could go to another direction to a smaller store, but like a locally co-owned store, then me and my husband have discussed that's where we'll go. Even though it might cost us a little bit more money, that's where we'll go. And so that's my hope, is that by the time I go through this winter, through all this physical therapy, that I'm at a better place where I can do a little bit more on my own. I'm hoping we stop this muscle wasting degeneration, and I can kind of find a plateau and maybe do a few more things for myself, because last year was not a good year. Mom had me answer phone probably 8. See? Yeah, I was little, and you learn how to be polite, and you learn how to live in society, and you learn your role, and you learn that there's a social contract, and that we all have to live on this spinning dust ball, and we all have to get along. And sometimes we need to listen to someone other than ourselves, because sometimes we have great ideas, but sometimes our idea is not the greatest. And I'm like that too. Like, I watch people on YouTube, and then I'm like, heck, if I see somebody that has a better explanation of what Ryan's going through, I'll come on here and be like, go watch their channel. They nailed it much better than me. Like, it's when all that true crime stuff was going on, and I found Allegedly Innocent's channel. I was like, y'all need to go check her out. She says it's so much better than me. I have no problem doing that. I have not one at all, because I want y'all to get, like, y'all spending time here. The best bang for your buck. Y'all need to be spending time with people that are teaching you skills, or bringing you joy, or doing something to, improve or better your life. And we have like 2 whole generations that just know how to make TikToks. I'm scared. I'm terrified. It's moderately funny, but it's still terrifying. And it's like, I'm sorry, I have my master's in psychology, and you think I've never dealt with any of this because you watched probably 3 minutes of one video and made this massive leap in judgment. And it's like, people, show some love, Lord have mercy. Make sure before you attack, you've got a reason to attack. Yeah, Christy, that extra money will be staying local. That's why we're working really hard to get me squared away so that I can actually get out and do a little bit more. I wish that store would offer like someone to shop for you and stuff. That would probably make my world a lot easier. But it's a smaller store, so it'd be easier for me to get in and out of. But that's what I'm hoping my physical therapy this winter is going to give me, a better spring and summer, so I can be a little bit more independent. And I don't have to give Walmart my money because it makes me mad. I know 18-count eggs are horrible. Yeah. My mom and dad's chickens are laying, and so I get farm eggs, so y'all can hate me for that. But I did check the price at Walmart when I did my order, and the 18 counts were between $5 and $8, even in my Podunk area. Yeah, Jules is great. She is so great. And she does, I mean, she's super smart, but she's not haughty smart. Like haughty, hot. She doesn't overlord it, and be like, I'm so smart, you must listen to me. She's just like, this is how this goes together, I love to listen to her. She's just amazing. Honey, I didn't have a cell phone until I was an adult. And then when I had a cell phone, I was like, the darn thing don't work. It goes every time I take a turn around the mountain, it don't work. Why do I have this darn thing? And then when I started working for the state and I had to have a cell phone, I was like, why are y'all paying for a cell phone in a state where I run through counties that don't even have signals? It's a waste of money. And then by the time they got towers up to where I could get found 24/7, I was like, I don't like cell phones. I don't like cell phones. Oh, is Fang in here? Did I miss Fang? Hey, Fang! Guess who I saw the last 2 days, Fang? Guess who visited me? I've had 2 days of like the best like friend energy ever. Cell phones are Satan. They can find you anywhere. I don't like them. You know, people need to be alone with their thoughts for a while. I used to sit in the hayloft during the heat of the day, like when we would take a little break when we were working on the farms. We'd take a little break during the heat of the day to just not have sunstroke. And I remember just taking me a cool jug of water, sweet tea, laying in the loft, listening to my Walkman. I could hear all the animals down underneath me. I'd listen to the sounds of the farm, the barn, and I would just listen to my music or lay there and listen to all the sounds of the farm and sip on my nice cool beverage, whatever I had, and just be thankful and just reflect. And they've taken that reflection out of life. Like, you're not supposed to be happy about anything. You're supposed to be completely in turmoil. You know, and if you have an issue, you shouldn't seek a resolution. You should just seek a continuance of the issue. I'm sorry. I don't want to feel like I have to be the sphincter police for 24/7. I want resolution. I don't wake up and seek conflict. Now, if I have it, I'll take care of it, but I really like resolution. But our society does not like resolution anymore. We're all antagonists now. And look at our leaders. We can't even decide if we want to shoot down a spy balloon. I'm just really amazed it got over like redneck area without getting popped. Fang, we said that if you had been here, it would have been great. So you were thought of. Flip phone. I had a flip phone forever. Like I normally keep my phones until I'm forced to replace them because they stop working. And then I'm like, darn smart people making me have to buy another freaking phone because most of the phones still don't work right here. And wouldn't you know, they've put up like 17 new towers in like the 8 counties around me, but ain't nobody's cell phone working better. Now tell me how that works. Yes, we thought of you. We missed you. Hi, Amanda. We thought of you and we missed you. And we thought, man, and Kim was with us one night and we thought, man, we would have a true, absolute, just friendship, just love fest going on here if we had everybody together. It was great. I think it is too. I was like, I bet you that's ours. They're just trying to scare people. So that's what I think. It's just like, you know, because how much money have they made off of our fear in the last 5 years? How much money have they made off of our fear in the last 5 years? Oh, well, look at Pfizer, whose information says, whoopsie, you know, that's basically every Pfizer document's come out in the last like 2 years has been, whoops. But look how much money they've made off us in the last 5 years because of fear. And how many times do I tell y'all, if people try to force you into an emotion, it's because they want to control you. So when people try to force me into an emotion, I go to the exact opposite one. So that's just, you know, how I am. I am so hard to corner. I told somebody, I told Brina, I said, if I was the rogue heifer in the farmer's field, I would never go through any fence he wanted me to go through. I would always be like, nope, you want me to go through that fence? Nope, I'm going through that one over there. Yeah, I'm very critical now. I always have been very leery. You know, I was born that way. Yes, Cindy, very much so. Yes, Fang, yes. Yep. And if they think as long as they keep us scared, we will agree to anything. We will allow anything to happen because we're scared and we need a pacifier for our government to protect us. Now, what we need is for our government to act like grown-ass adults and stop trying to make deals and launder money and be dipshits and really just care about the country they're supposed to be running and not everybody else's mineral resources. It would be real nice. Yep. Like they got all out of sorts because that one lady wore an AR pin. First off, AR does not mean assault rifle. It means Armalite. It's what it's made out of. So there's your education for the day. But she's also a Second Amendment supporter, and she's a veteran, and she's got a life story that goes along with being victimized by criminals with guns. So she's like, yes, citizens need to be armed. They threw a fit because she wore that pin. But how many pins have we seen run through our government in the last 3 years that mean absolutely nothing, but they want, you must wear it. You must wear it to fit into our group. You must wear it. And now this one lady, just wants to say, hey, this is my individual block, and I'm going to wear this, and they just lose their crap. Our government is like the toddler cage at the daycare. Possibly with a little less snot coming out of everybody's nose, but it's the toddler cage at the daycare. That's what it is. And I just look at them and go, how have you all made it through life? Because your functionality is so minimal. But that's a whole nother discussion. You don't have to function if you don't think you're part of society. Orion's got a lot on his plate, and people are so mad about me about talking about that. Like, he is not, he's out of his amygdala, he's out of the fight or flight response, so he got grounded the other day, and I got really happy about that. But he's got a lot that he's now got to take care of. This is like a huge awakening, and somebody said, well, it's a rude awakening. It may very well be a rude awakening, but by the time he learns everything he needs to be taken care of, and he learns everything that he should have been watching more closely anyway. And I ain't rich, but I know where every penny goes out of this house because I got very little to account for, so I have to squeak. But by the time he learns all the skills that he should have already acquired, he's going to be set up to be a much more successful, happy person. So this is great. This is an awakening. This is, you made all this money. You should have been watching it closer. So now he's getting caught up to where he needs to be. So if it was the family and all these issues that were causing me to pick up on all the off behavior that was like, what's going on? Something's wrong. And he has now confessed, like, yeah, I was having a lot of issues. I was having a lot of, questions and concerns. And I picked up on all of it because I'm trained to see all of that. If it continues, I'm worried. But now if the people and all that was what was causing the cycling, then his world should center and be more consistent now. And we should all be able to visibly see that. If the cycling continues and all these crazy things continue, then it's on him. And he has more work to do. Like the next 10 months to a year will tell. And I'm at the point where I am so old. And I hope he settles down and everything kind of goes just smooth as glass for him, because if he's, this is everything that he's going through, I want him to have some chill time, because that's a lot to compost. But at the same time, as a fan and as an older fan and as a fan with a disability and a lot of health issues, I can't keep riding this Ferris wheel. Jay, he actually said thanks. He said thanks for your thoughtfulness. And he's normally responded to most of my videos, but since he's had this weird vibe, he's been like locked in this other space. But he did the other day on a comment after I explained myself, because he questioned me. He said thanks for your thoughtfulness. And he knows that I have to be honest. I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to say it in the most respectful way possible. But I want the absolute best for him. He's a Tennessee boy. I'm emotionally invested into him. I want him to do great. And, the few times that we have actually spoken, I've not spoken to a more genuine, sweet young man. I mean, he was just the kindest. So, I think things will calm down for him now. If that was what was causing what I was seeing, then things will calm down. If things don't calm down, then he has more work to do. Oh, did you see that comment? Yeah. And normally we do like a tit for tat back and forth because we like to banter sometimes. But the last time he actually sought out to pick my brain was during the Kylie Rodney stuff. And then it kind of went radio silent. And I was really worried for him after that because he seemed really distracted and really not in a good place. And now I know why. Now I know why. Ron has a great heart, and the fact that he's been giving back on just what he thought he was earning. There's no telling what he's going to do for people in his area now, when he gets his finances in order. But that's what boggled my mind. I thought his heart and his wallet are always open. Why steal from him? That's just, it doesn't, it's just, that's why it hurts, I think. Was it? That's what somebody else has said. It was her voice. You know how bad my ears are, so everything sounds wonky if it's like a recording. But I've heard you. You're not the first to say that was her voice. All right, thanks, Jay, for stopping in. I appreciate it. I don't know what happened with him and Beth, but I was sorry to see Beth go because I really liked that she knew him before he was famous. But I don't know what was going on in their relationship, so it may be something that absolutely needed to be, stopped. I don't know. I just hope that they made the best decision for each other, and that's all I can wish. That's all I can wish. So but it's just amazing at the people that will watch 10 seconds and then just brain vomit such vitriol, and it's like, let's have a real discussion. Let's actually listen to each other for more than 30 seconds. Well, I hope that if that was the cause, then maybe they revisit and maybe can either get closure at least, or possibly talk about, trying again. Whatever's right for them. If it's right for them, I hope it happens. But I'm glad to see them doing better. But I'm here to tell you, we still have a problem in Creek Squad. Now, no, I don't think they're a cult, but they some plot blank assholes out there. And they get so butthurt because they're so attached to their one themed thought of Ron Epchurch that they can't have a discussion. And I'm out here trying to talk about how life and events and all this weigh in on him, in addition with the fame, in addition with toxicity, from family issues. And it's like, oh my God, can you at least listen to someone else for more than 30 seconds? Yeah, I actually saw his apology to Brianna, and I was like, that's a big move. That's a big thing for a man to do. And he did it in front of the entire world. And I was like, kudos to you, buddy. I think she took down her whole Instagram, didn't she, Annette? I've not tried to look. I don't know. I don't know. And see, I don't want anyone hurt. Now, if there was criminal fraudulent activity, you need to be held accountable. But I hope that everyone can grow from this, go their separate ways, and find a better path. I'm not like wishing harm on anyone. I think that's stupid. Hey, Thirda. So yeah, it's just been like one of these really weird days where it's been like stupid people have just abounded. It's like, woo. People are people. That's just about it. I go back to those old Queen songs like Don't Lose Your Head from the Highlander movie. Oh. That moon. I'll take a picture of it because I'm not trying to hobble out on my front porch. Yeah, I guess there's been a lot of sabotage in the family. I hope that this is something that I hope we see in his behavior and his daily life. I hope we see it just kind of solidify and slow down and calm down so that we can see the benefits of having a calm, controlled environment as opposed to one where you have 5 big chiefs trying to run the powwow, because it doesn't work. And I can say that because I'm Cherokee, so nobody come after me. It's sad, if you got 5 dogs and you throw one bone. You're going to have 4 upset dogs. I mean, it's just, just simple behavior. You're driving to Taco Bell. Doggone it. I want a number 6 chicken chalupa. I can't eat those anymore. That would make me so sick, but I love those. Is it a full moon? Oh my God. Okay, well, that explains a lot then. I haven't been keeping up with the cycles because since I got so sick and had to do this physical therapy, I've barely been able to function, as y'all have probably witnessed with my lack of being on YouTube since I had the almost heart issue back in December. So I've like being off kilter big time because I'm normally like a big moon person and everything, especially with my husband's trapping. And the coyotes have been obnoxious here tonight. So I was like, I'm gonna crack a window and yell, "Shut up!" But that's probably why they're going crazy. I'm glad he's putting himself back into his work because I know that's a great place for the energy, but I hope he also reserves some energy to talk to a professional about dealing with this because it's going to be betrayal trauma. It's going to be grief mixed in there. It's going to be a lot of emotions coming at him in a lot of ways, and he needs to know how to handle those because that can also augment the way he attacks the future. And I want him to have the best basis and foundation to go on from now as possible. I died for you. I appreciate that. Yeah, Pocahontas, yes. Yeah, he still needs to seek counseling. Oh, your Cherokee also is great. I'm like the Lenape offside splice, I guess is what you'd call it. So. Were they howling there? Oh, they're horrible here tonight. And I'm like, well, just shut up. So I have to watch Oscar when he goes out to potty because they get brave on these full moons. They want to come through the barn lot, and I don't want him to be mean. So I have to go out when Oscar goes out and stand on the porch and be like, I am big woman. I will shoot you. And they normally tend to stay away. So I let Oscar go potty. Because we can't have Oscar getting hurt. My last really attachment to a Ryan Upchurch song was Hitchhike. And ever since Hitchhike, something has felt off for me. But I'm hoping that now, since all of this is getting taken care of, that I will be back to the same bond with the music when it comes out again. I'm hoping that this kind of clears up. This could be what was causing the blockage for me. I was picking up on that. Oscar's a baby. Oscar's a rotten baby. He got a haircut. So now he looks like Mr. Peanut. He just needs a monocle. But he's so rotten. And he got presents when my friend visited. He got presents. He always gets presents. Trapper Jay. I'm sure David does. My husband's channel is Trapper Dave Waters, and he just started it this year. But if you go through my videos, you'll see some of his trapping videos for the last couple of years sprinkled through. I'm actually editing a couple right now that I need to put up where I've had visitors. I've not got it done. One of our favorite channels is Raised Outdoors. He's a really nice guy. Oh gosh, we watch a lot. Of course, now if you ask me to ring them off, I couldn't tell you what all we watch, but we watch a whole lot. My husband. Okay, we've got a bunch of new TWRA guys in our area. Sadly, we lost our main agent last year in a freak accident. He was trying to shore up a barn and a building, and it fell on him. And we had a really great working bond with him. He was at our house every other week because we have to have sites tags to send to sell certain things, and they have to be tagged. Certain things have to be tagged as soon as they're tanned. And so he'd come out and clip everything and talk and visit. Really great guy. And sadly, he passed in a tragic accident last year. And so they kind of had to reestablish the employees. And so we've got some new guys in the area. And so my husband is kind of like one of the top 3 trappers in the area. And he does this while working a full-time job and taking care of me. My husband is an amazing man. And the little TWRA guy was like, can you help me? Can you help me get started? And so David gives him some tips. The last 4 days, this young man has caught 2 of the biggest bobcats I've ever seen in my life and a monster coyote. And David has been skunked at this farm. He's trapping, and so he's like, I'm gonna stop telling people how to trap. He's like, every time I tell people how to trap, it's like I'm giving away my juju. And I got so tickled. But the boy brought him back and was like, as a payment for getting me started and loaning me some stuff and some traps, he's like, here. He's like, I know you'll make your money back on these hides. But it was just so funny because my husband, who is normally he's just even keel. You just can't make him mad. If you ever do make him mad, you probably need to run because I don't think I've ever seen him truly aggressively mad. But he's big enough. I wouldn't want to push it. But he was perturbed because that young man had gone out and had such immediate success. I said, of course, he's hunting. That's his own family's land that's never been snared or trapped. So obviously, it was a great setup. And as soon as they wisen up to him, he'll have to work for it. So he's been making some feather spinners for some of his bobcat cabbies, and I have been sticking some of Oscar's old toys at the bottom of the toy bin where it stinks, and like letting them soak up all the Oscar smells. And then I'm going to let him take them and put them inside the bobcat cabbies because cats love smells. And I'm sorry, but bobcats are notorious to go after small dogs, and I'm hoping that they'll think, oh, it's a small dog in that oddly shaped little thingy over there, and then they'll get in his trap. Because we've got to thin out some of our. Oh, thank you for subbing. He'll appreciate that. We should have a video out probably tonight or tomorrow. But we've got to thin out the coyotes and the bobcats here because it's getting to where domestic animals and children cannot play in our rural neighborhoods. So, you just learned about the Wampus cat today? It's a Wampus cat. We have what we call them Manx cats around here that are kind of like half breeds. And then we have the big old bobcats. And I think that he got a picture of these two side by side. And if he did, I will try to share it because it is impressive how wide these bobcats are. Now, I've got like three bobcats, three mounts in my house. And they're smaller cats because I have a smaller house. Y'all remember that big bobcat that I used to have that laid on the shelf that was almost as long as my sofa? I sold him because every time I'd flatten my Afghan up, I'd catch his toenails and about drop him off the shelf. And I was like, you've got to go, dude. These would make him look small. And my little guys that I have in my house right now, my three little guys, these bobcats would just pick them up and pack them off like babies. These things look like pit bulls with bobcat faces on them. They're just amazing. And we don't do the rabbit foot keychains because we don't trap rabbit. We don't have a really big rabbit population down here. The coyotes keep them. But I do have a beaver jaw keychain, and I've got 2 coyote jaws that I'm fixing to turn into keychains probably tomorrow. And if you're interested in one, you can just Facebook Hillbilly Furs and yell at Dave, or you can email me, and I'll put you in touch. We don't care. Like David's like, he'll put it in his Etsy store if you want the protection of an Etsy purchase. Or if you prefer to do a PayPal purchase privately, he'll do that with you. He doesn't care. But his Etsy store is Hillbilly Heart Decor. So, since my hands and stuff are getting better and I'm getting back to feeling better, I started a new rattle yesterday, which is a cow horn rattle with jasper beads and bison column bones in the rattle. I've got it leather wrapped with an otter face around the horn, and it's on a beaver chew willow stick, and I'm leather wrapping the stick, and I'm going to do a lot of drop feathers and beading on it with water buffalo beads that the tribe makes and stuff. So I've got some native stuff I'm working on for my physical therapy for my hands, because I've kind of like cheesed out on David for the last couple months where I've been really sick, but he still has bought me craft stuff. And my thing is, after I craft for a while, if I craft something really pretty, I'll give it to him to say thank you for buying me all my craft supplies. Now buy me some more. And then he gets like the really pretty stuff and he can sell it. So every once in a while you'll see my stuff pop on Etsy. There is a quilt on Etsy that I put on Etsy the other day. I couldn't take the best pictures because it's been so freaking cold here. But it's going to be one of the last quilts I offer because I am getting to the point to where I'm enjoying more of my native stuff. So I'm not quilting as much, and I've used a lot of my scrap fabric. And until my mother like tosses me bags of scrap fabric again, I probably won't start quilting again. Hubby's YouTube channel is Trapper Dave Waters. He looks like Grizzly Adams in the picture. Got a big old long beard. Big old long goatee. He is the kindest man. But he has absolute, like, no nonsense side. And it cracks me up. And of course, he's like country as country can be. He's great. He's salt of the earth, great. I married him because I was married and had my kids in my first marriage, and I was married for 6 years with him for almost 7.5. And then he made a temp agency secretary and left me in 3 days. And I won't have a dog at a run trash, let alone a man. So bye. I was set up and moved back home and started over. And yeah, we're gonna try to. We're hoping he doesn't have to work tomorrow, Pocahontas, because he's been having to work. So we'll try to do a couples chat tomorrow. But when I met him, I was mad at I was determined to just raise my children alone because I could be mom and dad. I was, go watch my crossbow video. I could be mom and dad. Now that I'm disabled, I need help, and my husband's my rock. But back in the day, I was a little Amazon. But we started dating. He put in a radiator. His brother was supposed to, because his brother was my best friend's husband, and his brother got held at work late. And so he said, "Don't worry, I've told my brother about your situation." I thought, yay, I'm a poor divorcee who, thank you. He said, he's going to put your radiator in for free. Just point at it when he gets there. Well, about the time he got there, the bank had called and said that the one time my ex-husband tried to pay child support, the check bounced. I was having a full-out breakdown. My children were screaming because my little boy was at the back door with his Scooby-Doo fishing pole. He wanted to go fishing at the pond. And my daughter needed a nap, but she was feeding off my anxiety and screaming. And here comes this big burly man to the back door, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Do I look okay?" And he's like, "That pond?" And I'm like, "Duh." He's like, I'll take the boy fishing. You just calm down." And I could see the pond from the farmhouse, so I wasn't worried. My kid caught a couple bluegill. They came back up. I got my daughter down for a nap, and he said, "Ma'am, are you okay?" And I was like, "I'll be fine." It's like, "I'm not your problem." Yeah, I was so hostile after my divorce. And he was like, he's like, I was just worried about you, and I was like, "It's okay. It's just my stupid ex-husband. The one time he tries to pay child support in a year and a half, it bounces. Now I've got to fix all this." And he's like, "Well, I'll put the radiator in. You don't have to worry about that." And he went and put the radiator in. And this is on a Friday night, a Friday evening. Lo and behold, 9 months of never seeing my ex-husband, he shows up that night with that woman to pick up these children because we were fixing to go to divorce court for the final slam of the gavel, like on the next Monday. And so he thought, well, I'll get the kids and then you can just get them back at court on Monday, and it'll save me a trip. That was like one of 3 times he actually ever got the kids. We brought that woman. She wasn't supposed to be anywhere near me or my children. It pissed me off. And he just showed up, and I was like, "I haven't seen you, talked to you in 9 months. Your check just bounced. You're not paying for doctor's visits, dental appointments. What are you doing?" And he's like, "If you tell me I can't take the kids, I'll tell them in court on Monday." And I was like, "I'm not going to tell you can't take the kids, but I'm not packing. You're going to go pack bags. I'm not helping you." Because I wasn't going to help him. He didn't warn me. He could pack his own bags. And I sat on the back porch, and that woman, David, was trying to put that radiator in. And this is the first time I didn't know this man. I just knew that he was the brother of who had originally, got to put the radiator in. And this woman walks up to him, and she's older than me. She should be more mature. And she's like, "So you're the new man?" And he's like, "I don't really think she cares for anybody." And I didn't. I was hostile to anything that was male. And she goes, "Well, it's a good thing because any man will leave her as soon as something prettier walks by." And knowing my husband now, he does this when he has something good to say. He stopped what he's doing. He twisted his hat sideways. He said, "Ma'am." And she said, "Oh, you have to admit, I'm prettier. And she's not taking care of herself after having children." And he was like, "Ma'am, ain't nothing pretty about you, a woman going home with 2 babies and busted up. Ain't a thing pretty about you." And then he twisted his hat back and went back to work. And I'm on the back porch around the corner trying to not have a breakdown while my ex-husband is upstairs packing the kids' bags. That woman starts crying and runs back to the car, and I'm like, And then in the back of my head, I thought, "Oh, dear, I have to pay attention to this man." And then it was later this summer, we actually finally started dating. Our first official date was the Mule Games. That's how country we are. And after being married to the biggest dip doodle in the world, seeing a solid country boy that was raised with manners and was just a rock, I thought, if my little boy grows up to behave like him, I'll be a proud mom. And that's when I knew I wanted to marry him. We got married less than 6 months after we started dating, and that was 20 years ago. So we've been married for 20 years. The kids are grown. He adopted the kids 3 months later. So he adopted the kids 3 months after we got married. The judge waived the 6 month wait fee and slapped the gavel. And because as soon as I was remarried, my ex-husband was like, he needs to adopt. I want to terminate. He needs to adopt, because they were going to send him to jail because he was so far behind on child support. So David adopted. And nobody here really understood that David wasn't my children's father because he's such a good dad. So doesn't mean our family does not have issues. We're going through it right now, let me tell you. But my kids had the best dad, and I was so concerned about that when I divorced, because they did not. He when I turned into a mother, he did not turn into a father, and that's what caused our divorce. And I was afraid that having only that one role model that was not a good one, it would make them struggle. But Dave's a solid man, so they've had a great role model. Well, he doesn't. We don't do a lot on other social media. We just kind of blab around on YouTube, and he has a Facebook page for people that like to yell at him because he goes by Hillbilly Furs on Facebook. I was not in the sweetest mode after my ex-husband. I was not. Yeah, that was a great response. That is what made me take note of him, and I was like, I have to watch this man. That's a good man, and he's a good man. And to this day, because he did a lot of logging and he does a lot of machinery work, he doesn't wear a wedding band. And everybody's like, David, you don't wear a wedding band. And he's like, I know I'm married in here. He's like, I don't need to wear a ring. He's like, I know I'm married. It's like, what's the ring going to stop me from doing, if I know I'm married? And half the time I'm so swollen, I don't keep mine on. But, but he is, yeah, that's a real man. He's one of them, by God, big burly men. Like the other day, he went to pick up a pizza at Pizza Hut. And I was like, I was trying to get the I'm here so it could be curbside pickup, but the button wasn't working. So I called and I was like, hey, the button's not working curbside and my husband's there. I don't know if he's coming to pick up the pizza or you need to take it out. And she was like, was it and I was like, oh, honey, go ahead. Big lumberjack burly looking mean Grizzly Adams. She goes, yeah. And I said, yeah, that was my husband. She goes, yeah, he picked it up. He was really sweet, though. And I was like, I'm the mean one. Yeah, he's a very solid, good man. Doesn't know how to stop working. Like, he works so hard. Like, he does this trap line for extra money because I have to have 2 insurances to cover all my surgeries and hospitalizations and therapies. And, he's just great. He's just great. I've got, Denise, I keep mine. I've got my wedding set and I love to wear it, but because I'm so swollen and on days I'm not swollen, it almost falls off now. So I'm going to have it resized if I keep shrinking. But I never press upon him to put one on because, even people that don't know we're married, he is not approachable to women. Like, if women try to approach him, he's like, so I'm like, I don't need to tag him. He's fine. And Lord help you if you try to flirt with me. You will walk away with a limp, even if it's through the internet, because I just do not tolerate that. He is very rare. I realized how rare, and I was like, no one else may have this one. He is mine. Oh, Annette, that's so sweet. Well, the first one I bought David was a size 14 Comfort Fit gold, and he lost it gutting a deer. So we've been through a few, and then finally I was like, listen, with you logging and doing all of this, you have to take it on and off because you're afraid you'll get your hand stuck in something. I'm just not going to buy you another. It's just a waste of money at this point. So he has, I've gotten a couple little camo, stainless or silver ones for him, so that if we ever go somewhere and he needs to actually look married, he can slide one on. But as far as like wearing one, he doesn't wear one. And he wore it religiously until he gutted that deer and lost the first one. And then it just was like we could not make another one stay on his hand. And I was like, listen, it's just difficult with the stuff he did. I understood. Yeah, we've done a couple of the silicone ones because that's what my son wears when he's up in the trees because he's an arborist. And David doesn't mind those, but I don't know. I think they feel bulky to him, so I think that's his problem. But we've not found one that like fits him and suits him yet. But I don't have to worry about him straying. He's not. He's just not made that way. And me coming out of a bad marriage, you would think I would be carrying a lot of trauma that would make me jealous. I'm not jealous at all. When people actually flirt with him, I'm like, do it, try. Oh, I want to watch this because it's amusing to me. Hey, Hillbilly. That's sweet. And Denise, that's sweet. Hey, listen. The last 2 months I've had, it just, if you're here, it's just good, morning or evening. But I wanted to pop on and just like explain what I've been running up against and why I keep saying we've got to shift this community back to a positive, and why we've got to learn to have dialogue and communication again. And we've got to also push people to get away from these little boxes and go back out and have real physical contact, so that we don't forget how to be a constructive society. We've got to get people back together with people. We've got to have that physical contact and that interpersonal real relationships. And we need to start to really communicate again. And I think that the younger generations, they're so lost. They're so lost because they're so trained to have one theme, one thought, one theme, one viewpoint, one perspective, and it has to be fed to them from this little box. That when they see somebody saying this or this or this may be plausible because of this or this, they get so confused and aggravated and hostile. So to the little girl that was such a pain in my hooch earlier, honey, if I caused you that much of a pucker factor, send me your address and I will send you some preparation H. I hear it's dadgum good stuff. So that's my kindness of the day. But there's no need to be a turd. If you really want to attack somebody, go attack people that are being point blank hostile on these social media platforms. Go yell at the people that are putting up porn and inappropriate videos. Go take your anger out on those people that are violating, the laws of the land and doing stupid stuff like that. Don't go after somebody who's trying to have a conversation. Oh, they try to be mean to me, but it's really just funny. Because, I'm sure I had her turned so inside out from having a thought pattern that at the end of, if she watched the whole video, at the end of my video, she was wearing her butthole like a collar because it just must have crawled all over her that I had a thought pattern. I have no idea why people are like that. I have no idea why people are like that. But I tell you what, when I was busting my own firewood, that was great. And when David would cut and I would bust and load, you know how you have to sing a song to stay in rhythm? David would make fun of me because I would sing the song, I feel pretty, chop, oh so pretty, chop. And that was the song I sang to keep me in rhythm to where you wouldn't get super tired. And he would just look at me and shake his head, be like, you were a nut. And I'm like, I know. It's the best thing about me. Our world, because of this internet, all it has done is allowed people with fewer communication and social skills to control the narrative. And the people that have the communication skills and the social skills are still trying to apply it to real life. But because big tech is controlling the world, we're having more people that have fewer social skills controlling the world and how the world is going. And therefore, the world is taking a more psychopathic, sociopathic turn. And we're seeing society dysfunction because of it. because the people that have the skills are not in control of this, which is in control of the narrative. And it's generating a psychopathic generation or two. And that's just point blank it. Like Jordan Peterson has been talking about it as well. And I've been like, that's it. That's it. That's what I've been saying. We're losing these skills that are necessary to function as a society, as a level-headed society that respects each other. And so we're seeing the amplification of some very dangerous behaviors and personality profiles because they're rewarded from this engagement platform, which is screwed up. It's backwards. It's a catch-22. So that's what's wrong. That bar me from saying anything because I just, went to college for 6 years and had a 20-year career in helping people restructure their lives for productivity after being in the criminal element or a juvenile with multiple issues. May God bless you in many creative ways. But like, I'm serious. Like, if I cost her that much distress, I will buy her a whole tube of Preparation H. I will send it to her. I will even put it in an Amazon gift bag. $3 more extra bucks. She just needs to give me her address. Cindy, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yep, absolutely right. And had I not worked in this career for so long, I would have very little to say about this world. But because I was the person on the front cleanup line for 20 years, I got a lot to say. And I think it's valuable information. I don't demand you follow it. I don't demand you take it as like, verses of the Bible. But it's definitely good. It's good information. I have a lot of useless knowledge up here. Just ask Gypsy. I fixed her heating thing yesterday. So much useless knowledge crammed in here. And it's just like, if I can be helpful and help create thought, help generate conversations, that's what I want to do, because we're losing our dialogue. We're losing our communication in this society, well, across the whole world. And that is the only thing that can save us as people, as a nation, is to maintain our communication, have them stop jacking with our vocabulary and our words, and to maintain those interpersonal relationships. Good gosh. What, normally it'd be around like $22? 24 bucks? Everything's getting worse. It's only going to get worse. We're fixing to go back to some skimpy living, y'all. And this is where I say, if you buy seeds, buy heirloom seeds. And try to buy them locally from farms that collect their own seeds. Because if you don't buy heirloom seeds, then you're going to buy a seed that's being genetically altered to where it will produce one crop, but its seed will not yield another crop. So make sure you're buying heirloom quality seeds. That's your hillbilly tip of the day. Yeah, we don't have a lot of fast food around here, so we don't eat a whole lot of that. But yeah, everything is getting super, super expensive for no other reason than greedy people want to be even richer. And it's like they want to go back to a feudalistic state, to where there's the ultra-rich and the poor. The middle class is non-existent, so there is no turmoil. There is no one that can battle for a step up. And it's like, oh, gee, that worked so well in the Dark Ages. It's like, good God. Even some of the organic they pawn off that have been augmented. So make sure you get heirloom quality, and if you can get it from a local farm that has collected their own seeds for generations, get them. Seeds are normally viable for 2 to 3 years. Sometimes if they're very, very, very determined, they'll sprout even after that. So replenish your seeds every 3 years. What I do is I just buy about 2 years every year, and what we plant, I just keep them in rotation, plant the next one the next year, and then I buy and keep putting them in order. So that's what we do. We didn't put out a big garden last year because I was so sick, but by golly, we're putting out a big one this year. But all of our families put out gardens, and then we can veggies and stuff. So we're still the old people that do the old ways. So Like if you ask me what the theme song to my childhood was, it was the tick 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 of a canner on a stove. And if it stopped tinging, somebody ting the weight, ting tick 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 tick, because it had to shake. That was like the whole theme song to my life. It was horrible. Yeah, and if you have chickens and they're not laying, change your feed. Try to go to the farmers cooperative and get the independent chicken feed. Try to ferment it so that you get the biggest bang for your buck and you turn your feed into about 3 times the volume. But also feed scraps. Your chickens love it. Chickens are cannibalistic. They love meat. I used to work at broiler houses and I've always had chickens my entire life. Feed your chicken scraps. Ferment your feed. Now, you might have a drunk chicken or two every once in a while, but it'll be okay. They'll wake up. And try to keep your chickens next to a running water source or something so that you don't get certain buildups in the soil. CJ, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, like it's like 20, 23, 24 plus tax. Yeah. That's crazy. Yes, and I used to get so happy when I would make stuff and you'd be sitting after you'd made it and the evening had cooled and you were sitting in your living room and you had cleaned your whole kitchen and you'd be sitting watching something and the house would get silent and you'd hear ping and you'd be like, yes, I am the canning god. It made you feel so good. Those were great days. I mean, and some of my favorite memories are sitting under the shade tree with Granny and Mom snapping beans and being able as a young child to be in those adult conversations and test my communication skills. Those are some of my favorite memories. And no one does that anymore. These kids do not get raised anymore. They just get put on this little social media teat. And then they just stay on it for life. It's like, pull right here to break suction. You know, it's like, stop. And I hope that some of them run across me and they go, oh my God. And they have a moment of clarity and they go outside and they play. They get a pet to care for. They go and volunteer at an animal rescue. They do something other than swallow this stupidity that comes out of these screens. You know, it's just like, oh, we've got to get back to our basics. Run barefoot through a field, catch a frog. My God, go fishing. You know, do some things that engage your spirit in a positive manner, not in a negative manner, because it's all about negativity now. If you ever want to know how to can food, the best book to buy is the books where, like the Ball Mason jars. They have the Ball Canning Guide. Easiest book. And there's a lady on YouTube that actually does great canning videos. I can't remember her name. And then the Whippoorwill lady, it's Whippoorwill Lodge or something other. She does some canning videos. It's not that difficult. I do a lot of water bath canning, and then if I do a lot of pressure canning, I go down the hill to Mom's because Mom's got the big canners, and so we can get more done if we work together. But I do a lot of water bath or outside over an open fire canning. And then if I need a pressure can, I'll go down to Mom's. So I do a lot of like salsas and pickles and like vinegar based stuff that doesn't have to be pressure canned. But then if I need to put my beans and other stuff up, then I go down the mountain to Mom's to use the pressure canner. So it's not difficult to learn. They'll tell you it's terrifying. It's not. Once you understand it and you do it a few times, it just sticks and becomes normal. And it takes about $80 to get started. You know, and just buy your jars in bulk when they come in and you get a good price. And every time you see cheap jars, buy them. And every time you see rings and lids, buy them. Never buy a wide mouth jar if you're going to have regular mouth jars because you will cuss that wide mouth jar. Every mouth jars, but I never buy them because you cannot keep the rings and lids in for them. So always buy the regular jars, and just every time you see a box of jar lids and flats, get it. Yeah, fermenting's easy too. Super easy. Yeah, Whippoorwill Hall, that's it. I love that woman. She has some of the best recipes. Oh my gosh, I love her. Hillbilly Kitchen's really good. And then Celebrating Appalachia does a lot of stuff like that too. That Celebrating Appalachia channel, she's actually an award-winning writer from Appalachia. She's just above me and I think northeast of me. And she's a super great representative for our area. And she does a lot of stuff like that. While I work for a 4-hour tour, I'm singing the Gilligan's Island theme song, Third Eye Tear. I used to go to the old grain stores and sit with the men around the potbelly stoves and just listen to them whittle and talk. Jay, that's it. I grew up on the farm. I am, until my neuromuscular disorder got me, I was probably handier than most men. So I guided hog hunts. That's how handy I was. Sutton's Daisy is a good candy. Okay, I'll check that out. Thank you. Rose Red Homestead. I'll check that out. Yeah, find those jars when a business does a bulk buy them then, because they'll get really high right around summertime every year. You're ready to ferment yourself? I'm about there. Today's been one of them days. Yeah, well, when families were generational components and we all stayed connected, that's when kids grew up and learned how to respect the past, but be excited for the future, but be grounded in the present. Kids don't do that anymore. They're grounded in this fictitious world that they get to create, and it's like that's not even real life. It's just crazy. Garlic and honey is great. Garlic and honey is like a powerhouse. I make goldenrod tincture every year for inflammation, because my inflammation is so bad all winter. So bad. Oh, honey, I still use a wood-burning stove. I've had mine rolling for the last 3 nights. It got down to 18 here last night. But yeah, I have burned a rick of wood in no time at all. David has to cut it a little bit smaller for me now so I can handle it easier because of my body issues. But I still keep a wood stove rolling. So I'm still an oldie. I guess I'm still one of the OGs. My dad was a blacksmith farrier. My mom was a school teacher. But I grew up in horse barns and cattle farms and tobacco farms and broiler houses and stuff like that. I do, yeah. The herbs and spices for healing. Everybody needs to have a edible North American plants book. Everyone needs to have a herbalist book to where they, what herbs can be used for certain things. I can kind of walk through and like pick a snack out of my backyard, and it freaks people out. A lot of people don't have that knowledge. So it's time to go back to that knowledge. So if you can't walk out in your yard or pasture and pick yourself a snack or a salad, it's time to gain that knowledge again. If you don't know what roots to boil to make teas for certain ailments, it's time to get that knowledge back again. If you can't go out and identify ginseng, and once you identify it, and you should be able to see it everywhere, and know what's poisonous and what's not, these are things you're going to need to know in the very near future. If you don't know where all the freshwater springs in your areas are, you probably need to get to learning that. So it's just old time knowledge is going to, it's going to be very necessary very soon. All right, Jay, go enjoy your Taco Bell. Thanks for popping in. I'm fixing to shut up. I need to anyway. But I just had to come on here because that struck me so odd, that response that I got from that girl. And I was just like, honey child, Lord have mercy. I'm trying to look at what Ryan's going through as an educational experience for him and everyone else that's watching it. So if I can add some thought process to it and help others that are going through it or may go through it, that's great. That's what I'm going to do. But you don't have to be mad because I'm adding what ifs and other scenarios and what could potentially, you don't have to be mad at me. Run to the potbelly stove, and yes, Oscar will still come in and lay on his back and stick his feet up to it so I can rub his feet to get the ice out of his feet. I have got red and purple nettle in my yard. Isn't that, and I just thought that was strange. And I've got a, oh my gosh, why did my brain just go? I've got a new herb that started growing 2 summers ago down toward the pasture, down out the kitchen window. And I looked it up, and so I'm potentially going to do something with it this summer if it comes up again. It's come up twice now, so I'm going to look for it again this year. And it's like a rare herb. So I'm going to do something with it. Oh yeah, those big fat peppermint sticks. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes, those were the best things. Man, you ended up a mess, but those were like the best things when I was a kid. Hi, Nina. Well, Jay, you have a good night. I'm glad you popped in. It's nice to see you. Nice to meet you. Come be family now. You're part of the crew. I normally talk about stupid things, funny things, or if I have a psych babble, I try to be, appropriate. But today's just one of those blah days. I just needed to get some stuff off my chest. But I am always going to be petitioning for us to learn to communicate and love each other and get back out there and have interpersonal relationships and get re-knit society, put people back together. We need to be seeing people. We are herd animals. Get back out there and make your herd. Birdseed, yes, I get volunteer plants, and I'm like, thank you, little birds. Poop me out another one, please. And I like those big puff peppermints, those big puffball peppermints. Oh my gosh, I love those. Those are my weakness because they're really good for my tummy, and they're one of my favorite candies. And so if I ever get a bag of puffball peppermints, they won't last very long because I will put them in my teas. I will keep one in my jaw at all times. I will put them in cake recipes. They'll end up everywhere. I love them. I love them. Is Gypsy still with us? Because if Gypsy's still with us, her favorite thing is whorehound candy. That's an internal joke. Sorry, I had to say it. If she watches this back and she's awake, when she wakes up, she'll watch it back and she'll just start dying laughing right now. She is. I love the puff peppermints. Puff peppermints are my most favorite thing ever. I love them. And you can just drop them in a tea and they just go away. I just love them. I love them. If I get anything wintergreen, and this is a bad habit of mine, because I grew up in a farm in the woods, on tobacco farms and chicken farms and horse farms, I dipped until I was pregnant with my first child, and I stopped when I got pregnant. Now, if I tried to dip again right now, I'd probably barf for 2 days. But I dipped Skoal Wintergreen Long Cut. So if I get anything wintergreen around me, I will want to go and get Skoal Wintergreen Long Cut. And I know it won't end well, so I just stay away from wintergreen anything. Because it makes me think I'm a tough little redneck girl again. And I know I'll just be puking out over my boots, and I better not. I better not. So, do they sell my big plastic tubs? Oh, God, I've got to go to Tractor Supply. I only get there like once every 2 months when I like rebulk on Oscar's feed and treats and stuff. No, thanks. I'm from the country. It's like, that's just, when I was tiny, my dad would give me like 3 strands of Levi Garrett to put in my jaw and tell me to go play, and so that's just how I grew up. I know it probably doesn't speak well for my dad, but that's what he would do. And because I would be like right underneath, I'd be like bugging him, and he'd be trying to shoe horses because he's a blacksmith, and he'd be putting his Levi Garrett in, and I want some. And he'd give me 2 or 3 strings, and he thought it was hilarious that it didn't make me sick. And I'd keep my chow in and run around playing the barn. And my dad was just like, my dad and grandpa just kind of let me be a little farmhand. I was the best little farmhand. My dad jokingly one day said to me I was the best son he ever had. And I was like, thank you. Thank you. Mint makes your nose run. That's interesting. Cinnamon makes my nose run, but I love cinnamon too. Cinnamon always makes my nose run. Now I used the when I was stopped up these last couple weeks, I used the doTERRA peppermint drops. I would put them in my drain in my kitchen sink, and when I turn on my hot water to wash my dishes, it would like sauna up into and make my sinuses clear, and I could like get the snot readjusted. And my husband would come home and he's like, why does the house smell like peppermint everywhere? And I was like, because it's in the drains. And he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm making a sauna when I do the dishes. We've got a huge Amish settlement around here, and they're like the old Dutch, German, and it's, you want to go to the sauna, eh? And I had the house smelling like peppermint, but I needed that to help clear my sinuses. And I kept on a crock pot of hot water and cinnamon and lemon and citrus peelings, and just kept it going for like 3 days Just try to cut the snot in my head. Hot tamales, y'all are good. I love cinnamon, but boy, my nose will run like a sieve. So yeah, I get creative. And we grow a lot of mint here naturally too. So if you can dry mint and put it up, you can make really nice mint teas in the winter. But I just didn't put up any mint last year. I didn't dry hardly anything last year. I put up goldenrod again. But that's all I put up, which was really strange because I had a really bad year last year. So I worked really hard trying to get ready for the grandbaby, but then I was really focused on certain things, but I was struggling. So I'm hoping all this physical therapy this winter will mean I have a great summer and spring and summer next year. Well, this year. So we shall see. Toss me good energy. We'll see what happens. I just wanted to come on here and chit chat because I've not felt good enough to just come on here and brain vomit for a while. And I thought normally you'd really enjoy this. So anybody that has not ever got to know me, now you're getting to know me. This is how my brain works. Welcome to my world. I have like 5,000 open tabs in my brain at all times. I normally rotate between 8 books at all times when I read. And this is kind of like where you pull up a chair and you go to your friend's house and you have a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and you just kind of hash. You just hash out what happened today and you talk about it. It can be good, it can be bad, it can be funny, it can be serious. It just whatever we need to talk about, we get it out. And I think we're losing that as a society. So this is where I do that because I'm not able to really visit a lot. Lessons with Liz. And but guarantee that as soon as my body gets better, I will be back to visiting. And and I just still have friends and bonus kids that visit and do this. But it needs to happen more around the world. We need to get back around to where we're having these communal visits with people that we love, and we're expressing our love and our concern, and we're talking. And so that's what I would recommend everybody do. Find you a group of people in your area that you can meet with, that you can do an activity with, that you can get to know, and let's start putting society back together. We are herd animals. We belong in a herd. We need our puzzle to all the pieces to be in place and touching. We are not supposed to be tribes, isolated and hating on each other. We're supposed to be integrated and have great interpersonal relationships. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here. Time is something you never get back. Squirrel brain, yes, absolutely. My little Usti is doing great. She's so beautiful. Usti is Cherokee for baby. My little Usti is so great. She's beautiful. She is the little faux suede cow print outfit that I bought her for Christmas. I nailed the size perfectly and got pictures of her in it, and she looks beautiful in it. And she actually acts like she's about 6 to 8 weeks ahead of muscle memory and stuff where she should be. So, our family's kind of going through a little like re-change, but that'll pass. But she's beautiful and she's doing great. And she's got my little chin. And I just think that's hilarious. Because I'm like, well, you'll never be able to take a punch, but I can take a punch, but no, they hurt more because you have a little chin. But she's got my little chin, so I think it's adorable. But our family is restructuring, but that happens from time to time, and we're getting through it. And I've gotten through a lot of health stuff the last 2 months, and so I'm starting to see the other side of the tunnel now, getting through everything. So, families have squabbles, but you got to work through them. And so I think that's also why I've been so emotionally invested in Ryan's family stuff as well, because I'm feeling a lot, not to that level, but I'm feeling a lot of it too. So I have compassion for any family that's struggling because it sucks. It sucks. My sweet face. It can be sour too. Ask the guy at Walmart this morning. But yeah, I'm like really, I've got a stubborn chin. Maybe that's what I need to start calling mine too. I'm really, really trying to change the momentum in the world and start just people really trying to love each other and communicate. You can have a disagreement, you can have a spat, you can be sassy, and then turn around and be nice. Like I started off and said what I need to say, and then went right back into sweep mode, and we all had a great chat. You don't have to let social media dictate you. You don't have to let influencers dictate you. You get to dictate your own life. You better make it a good one because you only get one. You better make it a good one. And my goodness, make it a real one. Touch real people. Eat real food. Do real things, and don't live to this stupid screen because this is not real. And this stupid screen is what's wrong with our world, and it's allowing a lot of people to get away with behaviors that should be held socially accountable, and they're not being held accountable, and therefore we're seeing a large gravitation toward a lot of psychopathy. So be aware to always make sure you have your people to connect with, and make sure you find your herd and stay sane with your herd and keep those interpersonal connections going. You need them. You're a herd animal. Everybody move now, right now. Ooh. You're a herd animal. We need those connections. So go find your people, go find your tribe, and then keep making it bigger and love people. Thank you, Fang. Keep making it bigger, add people, show love, show compassion, and let's turn this freaking world around. I mean, it's like somebody, let's step on the brake and turn it around, because we can. There are more good people in the world than bad. We just right now have allowed the bad people to grab the steering wheel. Don't be a sheep. Absolutely don't be a sheep. Question everything. Even the stuff that I tell you, I always tell you, it's question everything, even me. Don't ever take anything I say. Go question. Go research for yourself, always. That's the healthiest way to be. Question everything. So we are herd animals. So everybody find your herd. And, this is nice here. This is great. But please do it in real life too, because that's where you're going to get the energetic and psychological and neurological stimulation that you need as a human being that is missing, and that is what is causing our society to fall to the wayside. You need the energy swap with real people. Be a sheepdog, yes. Don't be a sheep, be a sheepdog. So go out there and find your crew. That's what I have to say. So I'm going to shut up now and find something to eat, and then I'm going to chill for a little while. And I'm doing better. I've started a new rattle, so we'll be doing craft time again. And I do believe David's off tomorrow, so we should be doing a couples chat. And it'll be the first one in a while because he's been working a lot. Wow. Wolf, sheep, sheepdog. That's great. So hopefully you'll join us tomorrow. And if you don't have time, that's fine. Just come back and watch it when you can. But it was great spending time with you. And so y'all have a good night. And enjoy the last video where I'm trying to climb off this couch. And I'm like, well, shit. It hurts to get off this sofa. This is the lowest sitting sofa I've ever had in my life. So, but my physical therapy is working. And I am doing better. So if you hear me cussing when I'm getting off the sofa at the end of each video, just laugh at me, because I do when I finally get standing. So y'all have a good night. Make sure you go to bed happy, be positive, and be happy about 3 things, and wish 3 positive things for somebody else, and wake up tomorrow and think of 3 things to be thankful for, and stay in that mindset, and life will be much better. You heard that? I had a friend was like, did you hear yourself at the end of that video? And I was like, no. She's like, you were trying to get off the couch. And said, oh, yeah, shit. I said, that's nice from what I normally say, because it hurts to get off this sofa. I thought, because you want to edit it out? I said, heck no, it's funny. Let people watch it. Y'all, I hide very little from you. I'm just like, no, that was real. Let them see it. But we'll shoot for a couples chat tomorrow and have a good time. I'll let anybody that hasn't met Dave come meet Dave tomorrow. He's hilarious. You'll get a kick out of him. And we'll do this again tomorrow, probably around dark 30. So check in, keep an eye out. I'll try to do a community post to do a roundabout time to let you know. So y'all have a good night. Magic number is 3. We probably will do a giveaway as well. So hop on, we'll see what we give away. So we'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys. Oh, now you're going to come say hi to everybody when I